Hello everyone and welcome to System Hoppers, the actual play podcast where we can never decide what we want to play. My name is Mark, and join me and our players Tolbin, Hekvetica, Mild and Hikaru, as today we're going to be stepping into the fantastical realm of Fabula Ultima. Fabula Ultima is a game designed by Emanuele Galetto and published by Need Games in 2022. It's a tabletop role-playing game inspired by Japanese role-playing games, or JRPGs. Inspirations include Bravely Default, Octopath Traveler, and of course the Final Fantasy series. It's a game about a group of adventurers coming together, developing bonds, and working together to fight off evil forces. The players are going to be stepping into the role of 4 adventurers, and we're going to be going through the Press Start introductory scenario. This scenario is designed to teach the rules and mechanics of the game as we play, and the character sheets actually unlock more features as we go into each scene. To start off, players will only have access to their stats and a vague idea of their abilities and how they work. The players will have 4 core stats they can roll on throughout the game. These are Might, Dexterity, Insight, and Willpower. And each stat will have a different sized dice to accompany it. Dice range from a D6 being the worst at a skill, to a D10 represent being quite skilled at it. When making a skill check, the players will roll on a combination of 2 stats and use those respective dice. For example, attacking might require a Dex plus Might roll, or a Might plus Might roll, whilst casting a spell might warrant Insight plus Willpower. There will usually be a target number to beat, with 10 being average and 13 being challenging. If they're using a specific skill though, it might tell you what number they need to beat, or they might have to beat an enemy's defense value to hurt them. There are some other rules that we'll explain as they come up. As our players are learning the game for the first time, things like group skill checks, and some of the new abilities they'll unlock, and the Fabula points system that can earn them extra rerolls and bonuses will be covered as and when they come up. I have talked to my players beforehand, and we also discussed lines and veils in terms of content, and we play with an X card rule in place just in case players aren't happy with any of the subject nature that pops up over the course of our play. Finally, we do try our best to get the rules right, but there may be cases in which we get them slightly wrong, but that never stops us from enjoying the game. So for now, let's get underway and meet the players and the characters that they'll be playing. So hello everyone, my name is Mark and we'll be playing Fabula Ultima. Do you want to go around and just everyone do a quick introduction and who you're playing? Tolbin, do you want to start us off?
Hi, my name is Tolbin. I'll be playing, I believe their name is Lavinia Fulbright. I might have added 1 or 2 extra syllables, but it's Lavinia Fulbright, she, her pronouns. She's a princess without a kingdom. Lavinia is about 5'3", quite short, with a blonde, messy bob, sort of rounded at the bottom, quite fair features, small in posture, but then is sort of overwhelmed almost by this sort of very dark, shiny black plate armor and a large great sword, all of which she looks great in.
Wonderful. Hikaru, would you like to go next?
Hello, my name is Hikaru, and I will be playing Cassandra, who is a seemingly very confident fighter, carries an ornate spear. She has long, flowing, straight hair with what appears to be cat ears.
Yes. You play JRPGs, right? You know how this works.
Yep.
Wonderful. Heck or Mild?
I can go. So I am playing Edgar. Very easy to pronounce. Pronouns are he, him. He is younger, kind of wiry little fella. Got goggles on his head, and he also has a Magitech prosthetic arm on his right. And he carries a little knapsack stuffed to the brim with like papers, and he's got instruments and stuff to take notes with. He's a young inventor and kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I would say.
Good. And Mild.
Yes, I'm Mild. I'm playing Blair Clarimonde, and Blair is very put together as the heir to the throne of Dunova. Blair goes by they, them pronouns, has a very ornate outfit, fit for seeing other emissaries from other nations, but not too flashy. Also carries around a little harp and has a little pillbox hat as well.
Mm-hmm. Good. Probably should have, maybe started with you as the heir to the throne of the nation we're from, but everyone's kind of already had a bit of look into their character and a bit into who they are as an individual. But just to go through a bit of the politics of for the one shot we're kind of set in, you guys are all on at least the side of Dunova. There are two nations, Dunova and Ilonia. The Empire of Ilonia and the Kingdom of Dunova. Essentially two nations that are kind of in... There's been trouble over the years, but no actual outward acts of hostility. But it's a very kind of fragile peace. Ilonia have been essentially slowly conquering their way up through the continent away from Dunova. They originally conquered the kind of village of Pemble, known for some of its Magitech creations, and Armorica, an armoured stronghold where one of you is also from, has also very recently kind of been conquered. And conquered in inverted commas, more like acquired and then merged into the conglomerate that is the Ilonian Empire. But that's not where our story kind of takes place. Our story begins on a small airship sailing above the forests surrounding the city of Dunova. Piloting the airship is an old gruff man named Leon, who begrudgingly has accepted to transport you to some ancient ruins known as the crater of Megido, a once great city of magic that was devastated by magical cataclysm in the past. The crater still hides many powerful and terrifying secrets, and troops from the neighbouring Empire of Ilonia have been spotted in the area. Why are our heroes heading here, though? Well, that's a question that Blair Clarimonde has the answer to. Their father, King Roland, decided not to take any action against Ilonia to not escalate the situation, but Blair has disobeyed their father's orders and gathered a group of exceptional individuals to personally investigate the situation. So, you find yourself on an airship. Actually, Edgar, I'm going to say you, because you're the kind of expert on Magitech here. If Magitech is powering the airship, what do you envision it looking like?
That's a great question. I think, just judging by the look of everything in this game, the airship is probably powered with, like, I'm sure there's like a large balloon, and we've got like pumps, kind of along the side that are pushing air up into the balloon with like a helium mixture.
Mm-hmm.
So like engines are running, there maybe is some propellers to get rudders just right. I'm assuming the outside of the ship, this is Ilonia, so I'm trying to think if Dunova, this is Dunova. We're going into Ilonia.
This crater's kind of in the middle. Into your kingdom, but it's enough that if Ilonian troops shouldn't be there if they were there.
Right, okay. I was trying to think if it would be like heavily armored, but I don't think it would be. I think it's a wooden airship to keep it light and nimble, especially because we're like trying to be a little bit sneaky about it, right? So it's on the smaller side. Yeah. Wood paneling, but probably a little regal looking, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I kind of throw that out to you as well is just because, as I said, like, compared to D&D, this game's a bit more about collaborative storytelling, so...
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I was just going to say, it is a little bit regal, because it's an airship, but it's also an airship, like H-E-R ship, right? So, yeah.
And Blair, actually, on the topic of that, I'm going to throw to you as a kind of question. So, the pilot that you've got for this, a gruff, kind of nearing the end of his career, but loyal, like, airship pilot named Leon. Is this kind of a favour you've called in? Is this just kind of like he likes you and just you convinced him to do it? Is there, like, what's the relationship like there?
Yeah, Leon has served my father for just decades and has always really been encouraging adult presence in my life. And it's not so much a favor, it's really maybe a little bit of a conspirator in the, like, wants to see me succeed, and knowing that I need to make decisions kind of planted the seed maybe a few years ago. And so when it came time that I have this opportunity to assemble my compatriots for this journey, Leon's like, yeah, we'll just, it's like stealing your parents' car for like a Saturday night, but like they're actually driving. It's strange, but we're relying on Leon, who's a little bit of a scamp themselves. So
that's perfect. Like, kind of trying to slightly push you into that rebellious side.
Yeah.
maybe a slight concern over the inaction and potential where we're at. And I'll kind of open to that as the airship kind of is flying across then. Where are we all kind of within the airship while this is taking place? Like, if Leon is kind of at the helm, actively like on the wheel, kind of like, controlling it, where does everyone else want to be?
I will be in, if I can, the darkest room possible, where I can just try and get some semblance of balance, as Lavigne does not do well with air travel in general, and is feeling very, very motion sick.
Yep.
Just kind of cradling her helmet sort of upside down, just in case.
Yep, okay.
I think Cassandra would be looking for somewhere where get a good view of where we're going, what's around us, whether that's like a crow's nest or she has to climb some ropes or something like that just to get to a sort of high vantage point.
If there's kind of this big balloon element we discussed, there's probably ropes and stuff you could climb up on the side or kind of like hang off, perch on.
She'll climb up to a high point on the ropes and just sort of hang there, sort of keeping a lookout.
Edgar and Blair, where are you guys?
I think Edgar is up at the helm. In his eyes, he's trying to help and learn as much as he can, but he's probably just being really annoying to Leon, who is just trying to fly this ship. But he's trying to help in every way he can, and he's jotting down notes and learning kind of how to steer this thing, proposed ideas to make it easier, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and Blair would be right in that mix of things, kind of trying to smooth some of the rocky relationship between Leon and Edgar, as, Edgar's just asking a million questions and on to the next question before Leon can answer. But also, Blair is looking behind, kind of just making sure that nobody's followed us, nobody's really noticed that we've slipped away, as it's been very clear that my father does not approve of any investigation into this area that we're going to. So a little bit of keeping a lookout for the secret that I'm trying to keep. So
from how you've kind of planned this and how you kind of did get away, and from previous kind of excursions, you don't feel that you're being followed. Doesn't seem to be a kind of uproar as if the heir to the throne's kind of vanished overnight. It seems to have gone relatively undetected. But you can see, Leon is appeasing Edgar in the best way he can, but maybe just also trying to focus on just flying this ship. Cassandra, at the top of the ship, in the kind of as you're looking over, then you see first the tops of the trees part abruptly, and you can see the kind of forest end as you enter the kind of where it would be trees turns to kind of rubble as it starts to turn into this crater, and then the rest of you would also start to, if you were looking out the window, start to see an oddly circular pit kind of descending into the ground, filled with the remains of ancient stone buildings and waterways kind of crumble away to the middle, to the center of this crater. Edgar and Blair, then, you hear kind of Leon announce this. Right, we're here then. As you all start to hear, all of you on the ship, you hear a rumbling from the depths of the crater.
Hearing that rumbling, can I climb my way down and meet with the others on the deck of the ship? And just sort of look over the edge.
As the rumbling begins, as you get about a quarter of the way down, you see from the center of this crater a beam of just purple energy just shoots directly upwards and kind of strikes the left side and kind of chunk of the balloon on the sails of the airship. The ship kind of shakes slightly, and then as quickly as it kind of came on, this energy fades away. You all definitely feel this ship kind of suddenly take an impact on its left side, as Leon kind of immediately snaps up, "Son of a cactrol! I swear this is the last time we drive these. I do something like this." And just immediately takes the helm and just starts going kind of into Mayday position. The ship kind of starts to shake and buckle as you feel yourself starting to descend rapidly. So what I'm going to ask each of you is, what are you guys doing in the kind of instance of this happening? And I'm going to propose a check for you to try and make, just to kind of introduce the mechanic of that to you guys.
I would like to try and rush and make my way to the helm of the ship, whilst trying not to try not to be sick.
So you were saying to try and run to the helm and not vomit.
Yes, please.
I'm going to say you can roll on... I'm going to say might and willpower.
Okay.
As in might to physically get through a ship that's falling down, and willpower to kind of not
be sick.
Not be ill. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Let me do that 1 second. Okay, so that is... Do you want the combined or individuals?
So if they're double sixes or higher, let me know. Otherwise, just the overall number. So
11.
That's a 3 plus an 8 for an 11, so that's a success.
Yes.
As this is all going on then, kind of the ship buckles and breaks, you manage to make your way to the helm as you kind of see the chaos that is unfurling on the front of the ship here. Cassandra, what are you doing? Because you're at the top of the ship.
So I would like to quickly try and climb round to the side that was hit and try and assess any damage while trying to hold on to the ropes and not fall off and die.
I'm going to say for that, you can roll on insight and dexterity then.
Okay. Sorry, that was dexterity and insight, yeah?
Dexterity and insight, yes.
That is a 4 and a 5.
So that is you need a 10, unfortunately. So,
Oh no.
Oh no.
so DC for these is just, for these initial ones, I'm just going to have difficulty 10 for all the checks.
Okay.
Cassandra, you're falling.
Oh no.
I'm going to say, as you kind of clamber around the side of the ship, then as you kind of assess the damage, you slip slightly and just catch yourself as kind of a bit of the ship kind of breaks away and just like narrowly avoids hitting you. From that, you are shaken. No, sorry, you're dazed.
Okay.
On your character sheet, you should be able to tick where it says dazed.
I have indeed marked that. What does dazed mean for me?
Explaining them for everyone. So on your character sheet, you'll have these conditions. If you have a condition tick next to that ability, whatever your dice size is, reduce it by 1 step.
Okay.
So what is your insight?
It's a D6.
Oh, so it can't actually go lower than a D6. So, but you can see they do affect your stats individually, and sometimes, like, if you are dazed, stuff can proc if you have a stats condition. We will potentially learn about curing conditions later on. Edgar.
Yeah, I think at this point, Edgar is kind of trying to go into emergency mode. He's kind of gleaned enough to know that, we've taken a little bit of damage, and he's trying to get to, or work out at least, what piece of machinery he can get to and see what he can do to help out there. So he's got his little toolkit, and he's making his way amongst all the rocking. And
that sounds like, I'd say insight and dexterity.
Insight and dexterity? All right. That is 18.
Big whammies, 18.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nearly
Nice.
a crit. If either of those were doubles. But all of the advice and speaking you've kind of done with Leon is paying off here, and you are very quickly able to kind of help him assess the situation and try to bring the ship into more of a controlled landing. Upon kind of seeing the chaos of like the ship, you are kind of picking up speed, but you kind of are helping to kind of alleviate it, make sure you're not kind of going straight down for like a hard landing in this crater. And Blair, what are you doing?
Blair, seeing it, like, because Leon, very, known them my entire life. As soon as Leon's hunkered in, I notice the struggle, and I'm going to just try and gather as much kind of like strength to help pull the wheel the same way that Leon has been struggling to pull it as well, and just kind of tell everybody like, hold on, we knew this was going to be rough, and be a little bit encouraging in this moment too to the rest of the group.
Okay, that sounds, I'm going to say might to hold the wheel and willpower to kind of help everyone kind of persevere with that.
Oh no, I rolled two. Double twos. Yeah. So Blair did not do a good job with that.
As you try and grab the wheel, trying to hold the wheel, like Leon is quite a burly pilot. He would kind of rest it, like he's trying to pull it as well. He kind of pulls it from you, and you kind of stagger back slightly. I'm going to inflict weak on you. Upon that kind of not working or not working out, I'll knock your might dice down 1 step.
Okay. So it'll turn into from a D8 to a D6 now.
Yeah. So it's got 2 successes, 2 failures.
Yes. Blair, I do not feel confident from your words.
Lavinia, you kind of get to the helm as you see Blair and Leon trying to kind of rest the ship. Edgar kind of help with the kind of mechanical elements. Cassandra, I'll say at this point, you kind of get down from the, if you want to get down from the top.
Absolutely. After almost falling to my death, immediately, yeah, I'll make my way down and try and join the others.
Then you see it's kind of controlled chaos. Like, this is not, as you see Leon kind of like pulls the ship in and goes, it's gonna be a rough landing. As you kind of hit the bottom of this crater and the airship kind of thuds into the ground with like kind of a mighty crash. Hull kind of impacting into the dirt as it kind of slides a good 50 or 60 feet. Luckily, from the kind of checks we got and the condition it's in, I'll say the ship's not like, it's not outwardly like destroyed. Like, it's definitely not airworthy. Leon kind of picks himself up and just kind of coughs through his kind of beard, this kind of dust. Why did I agree to go on this trip? As he kind of still smiles, like he's maybe slightly enjoying the action.
So if the ship is not flying, where do we go from here?
Well, we're all alive, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counts himself.
It could have been a lot worse. Like, really, I think we got here. We're here now. So the ship, that's a later problem.
I disagree, but okay.
Well, Leon, I have full faith that you'll get it working again before too long.
I appreciate that. Yeah, as he kind of just starts just picking up bits and kind of putting them on the side, and then it immediately kind of falls down again.
Again, Blair, I do not feel confident by your words.
Yeah, I'm just immediately ignoring the ship state and just being like, okay, well, we're at the crater site now. Now the mission starts for investigating what happened here.
Yeah, this is a bit of a mess over here, but you guys probably have your work cut out for you. Not here, as he kind of points towards the center of the crater. But I'm gonna stay here and survey the damage and see what can be fixed. I might need a hand or three later, but we'll probably be all right.
I think Leon has a point. Perhaps we focus on where that beam came from?
There was a beam? Like a beam of wood, or
Less like wood, more like a laser. But perhaps that might be a good place to start.
I mean, the ship right now has more holes than Dunovan holy cheese, so we could just go to the crater, yes.
Yeah, if that beam took us down, we're probably not flying until that's gone anyway. So I'm going to leave that to you.
I think at this point, Edgar has been scribbling in a notebook, and he tears a page off and he hands it to Leon, and he's like, okay, I can't stay. We got to go look at this. But listen, I've taken some notes here. I know what's wrong a little bit. If you try these things out, they could work. I don't know. Blair, should I stay with Leon?
Blair just grabs Edgar by the back of like the collar and is like, and we're going this way, and kind of like drags you like a little off your feet to like, and grabs Lavigne's arm and is like very much just we're all headed this way now, and like mid-sentence.
Edgar, as you're being dragged back, you see Leon kind of like take the page off you, like not really read it, and then his eyes skim to it, and then he actually reads it, and as you kind of Leon's like, hey, wait a minute, how did you know about it? And kind of like as you kind of pulled out the room. Like from an 18 on that roll. Like
I love it.
It was very insightful, whatever you've given him. So as you are kind of leaving from the airship, we're going to talk about traits and bonds. So you'll have attributes which are your skills towards certain things, but you'll also have traits which are kind of unique to your character. So identity is where your character kind of, like what your character sees themselves as. You'll all have one of those. Theme is the kind of narrative force that drives your story individually. And origin is, of course, where you came from. Do everyone just quickly want to go through what their theme and origin identity is?
Sure. I mean, for Lavigne, I am a princess without a kingdom. My theme is guilt, and my origin is Amorica. There is something I cannot forgive myself for. And yes, that is in-game.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I can go next. Cassandra, her identity is former Skyrider captain. Her theme is doubt. Her origin is Stormkeep. And the quote below says, "There is something I must know."
Okay.
Yeah, Blair, the heir to the throne of Dunova, is my identity. My theme is duty, my origin, Dunova, and my quote, "There is something I must do."
Okay.
Nice. Edgar's identity is young inventor who survived. My theme is hope. The origin is Pimble. And my quote is, "We can make this world a better place."
Cool. I think some of those themes, as an individual, you might know a bit more about why your character has that. I sent you all a few questions kind of in advance. We'll quickly go through each one. You can kind of say as much or as little kind of about the questions as you want. I'll read them each to you and kind of go through them. So, Blair, we'll start with you. You are heir to the throne of Dunova, and you believe it is your duty to help protect the people and stop the Elonian Empire from seizing control of the crater of Megido. Your father, the king, thinks otherwise and ordered you not to abandon the royal palace. So how did the crater come to be? What disaster turned a prosperous city like Megido, home to the greatest magic in the world, into a sunken mass of ruined buildings? What terrible secret do you fear the Elonians might uncover there? And then, is your question as heir an honour or a burden? When your father forbade you from taking action against Elonia, was he trying to protect you?
Yeah, it's easier to answer the second question. Position as heir is really overwhelming. It's more of a burden for Blair. Blair has a lot of things that they are expected to do. So it has been a life not really being able to explore who they want to be. It's who they're expected to be. The crater is of major interest because it is kept under such secrecy, and since my father, the king, is like, yeah, we're just not gonna, don't worry about it if the Elonians took it over, it makes it even more pressing in my mind to kind of chase after what might be lurking over here, given that my father usually is very clear on why things are expected to go the way that they're supposed to go. You know, it's everything that I've heard my entire life, so.
Yeah, I think that's good. Just to clarify, yeah, as we've kind of gone through, so these questions are kind of your chances as players to give me stuff. Like, I've not prepared answers to these. So it's your chance to kind of feed into the lore of how your character is. And again, in a full game, it's something where you'd kind of add a lot more to it as well. So, Cassandra, you are the former captain of the Skyriders, the elite soldiers of Stormkeep. You came here after hearing rumours of a woman with a white spear among the Elonians, the same spear that your mentor, Desdemona, used to wield. The idea that she might have sided with Elonia fills you with doubt. So my questions that I put to you were, Desdemona left Stormkeep after the violent death of her brother Tristan. What was your relationship with the two of them? How did Tristan die? And why have you abandoned your position as captain?
So, being the former captain of the Skyriders, Tristan worked under me, and during a mission that Desdemona instructed me not to go on and advised me that it is sort of a death sentence, I ignored her request, leading to Tristan unfortunately dying. There was an event that happened, a sort of spell or ritual to try and keep him alive, in which part of Tristan now resides within me. And with that, I am no longer able to continue as the captain of the Skyriders because my wants and needs are no longer just my own. And that obviously led to some issues with Desdemona, who was obviously not happy with that.
Yep. Edgar, you are a young inventor from the village of Pemble, where you survived a terrible accident. You rebuilt your right arm using Magitech science, the same that allows Elonia to create its robotic soldiers. Even so, you hope to learn more about Magitech to make the world a better place. So, what happened in Pemble? Why did you leave the village? And then, due to Elonia's actions, Magitech will forever be associated with war. But at least they're not sending living people into battle. What are your thoughts on the Empire?
Yeah, so what happened in Pimble? Edgar I think growing up was always in love with Magitech and really wanted to work in it. And in Pimble, there was a military encampment to which he got a job as a mechanic. And during one of his routine checks, one of the larger Magitech soldiers malfunctioned and just sliced his right arm clear off. It was pretty traumatic for him, but the other soldiers around did get him help, although, his arm was gone. So over time, he scavenged parts from machinery there, rebuilt his arm to be a prosthetic arm using Magitech, which is kind of cool. And I think from there, it really spurned him as an inventor. He wanted to find ways to help people with Magitech, where, the top brass in the military encampment for Alonia, they weren't really in with that. So Edgar and them sort of had to part ways, I think. Edgar, left to really try to find a way to help people with his skills that he's got as a mechanic, as somebody who is familiar with Magitech. His thoughts on the Empire are very conflicted. He doesn't like what they're doing with Magitech, but he's thankful that there's not people there. But he also feels like Alonia is losing their humanity a bit because there's nothing on the line but these machines to them. So he's really worried that this is going to snowball and, maybe be unstoppable at some point.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's really good. I like that. And Lavinia Fulbright, you are a princess without a kingdom. Your home, Armorica, was conquered by Alonia. Powerless, you witnessed the Empire take everything you held dear, including your loved ones. Your heart is heavy with guilt, and you will do anything within your power to save Dunova from a similar fate. So my questions to you were, why did Alonia attack Armorica? What powerful weapon or artifact did they take from your kingdom? And Armorica's dark metal is known as one of the best protections in the world, and your armor was a precious gift. Who gifted it to you, and what was your relationship with them?
Yeah, so Alonia attacked Armorica because they wanted the secrets behind the dark plate armor, hoping to use those techniques to create that on their airships and their military going forward. My dark plate armor was gifted to me by my grandmother, recognizing that my parents were too stubborn in their and set in their ways. My grandmother thought it'd be best if I, in secret, help our people on the ground level, and so I left under the cover of night
before the kingdom was invaded.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and then you found that your home nation has recently joined the Elonian Empire. Joined in heavy inverted commas there.
Yes. Procured.
Join the family.
Yeah.
So that's just to give you all a little bit of context just about who everyone else in your party is. And I assume you all kind of know each other, at least on some level. We're now going to quickly go through what are called bonds, which are the next bit on your character sheet. So your traits define who you are, but in the game, your kind of relationship with the rest of the people in your party is also something that we measure. And this is represented by bonds. So now that you've had a chance to kind of interact with each other and answer some questions about who you are and heard who they are, what I want you to do is create one bond with one other player character. So someone that left an impression with you during the first scene, someone that you feel maybe relates to you, like narratively. And what I want you to do is for each bond, you'll have 6 emotions tied to it. They come in pairs, so admiration or inferiority, loyalty or mistrust, affection or hatred. And what I want you to do is just create a bond with one other character and then give one emotion to that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. They aren't necessarily two-way streets, so you can have a bond too with someone who has no bond towards you, or you could have a bond of admiration towards someone that has a bond of mistrust to you or to someone else.
Can I have a bond with Leon?
I'll let you have Leon as an extra one as well, just because he's back at the airship. I think that makes sense.
I have a bond with Leon. Hatred. He's a terrible driver.
Inferiority. Oh no. We want to quickly just go through who you made that bond with and why.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Sure. So I picked Blair as, a couple of heirs to their thrones, although mine currently in possession of someone else. I thought that sort of kinship, I went with loyalty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good.
How fitting, because Blair chose Lavinia for my bond, and I chose inferiority because I have not been able to encourage you. I feel terrible for bringing you on this journey, and I'm doing my best to hold it together, but everything I've done has fallen short, and so I'm that's under the surface. I'm really trying to put on a brave face, but I feel like I'm failing you because of the disastrous landing that we had. So I chose inferiority.
It is okay, Blair. It is Leon's driving. He's awful.
Gonna give Leon a bond towards your hatred.
Yeah.
I can talk about Edgar if you want.
Yeah.
So besides Leon, I did actually choose Blair just from being in the helm and sort of Blair having to play goalie with Leon and himself. I feel like Edgar is somebody who does trust and have a lot of loyalty towards Blair as well. I think it's sort of, I don't know if it's misplaced or not, but he looks up to Blair for sure for doing this and for sticking their neck out, especially against their family's wishes to go on this mission. So that's big.
Mm-hmm. You're good. And Cassandra.
Yes, so Cassandra feels a bond towards Edgar. I've gone for affection. It's an entirely non-romantic affection. Edgar sort of reminds her of Tristan, who she was unfortunately not able to save. Very bright-eyed, very hopeful and positive, and she immediately feels that sort of kinship with him.
No, I like that. Those all sound like very interesting. I like that you've taken the reasons for your character or tied them to another character narratively. So, as you guys get off the airship, our screen fades to black. We now see the inside of an ancient building, perhaps a temple. It's a dark room, illuminated by a dim purple glow that seems to pulsate. Supporting the roof is a massive bronze pillar in the center of the room, decorated with ancient symbols. The pillar is filled with cracks, from which intense rays of energy occasionally jut out. You then hear the clacking of armored heels on the stone floor, as you see a hand approach the pillar, wrapped in a silver gauntlet. The scientists of Alonia were right, a feminine voice says. The compass was left buried here since the disaster. Now that we have it, dear brother, it will be brought back for good. You see in the kind of doorway against this kind of pulsating light from this purple pillar, two shadows stand against it. One is a massive giant clad in armor. The other is shorter, thinner, and wields a long spear. It seems soon we can get out of here.
Oh.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's all we have time for this episode. We hope you enjoyed the show and thank you so much for listening. Music from this episode was used with permission from Son of a Die, who made the official soundtrack for Fabula Ultima. Thanks for letting us use it, and I'll put a link to their Bandcamp page down below in the show notes. Sound effects used are from Battlebards.com. Check them out for a great range of tabletop soundscapes and effects. If you want to support the show, please do follow us on our socials. I'll put links to them down in the show notes, and we even have a Discord server now where you can talk to the community, see potential updates on what we've been playing, and see what we might be thinking about playing next. Join us next episode when our characters delve deeper into the crater of Megido and find that they aren't the only ones exploring this ancient city, that something underhanded is definitely afoot. Take care.